Okay, so the next part of the lesson is going to be quite relaxing. So we're going to watch two different movies. So I'm going to split the class in two. So half will watch one movie and half will watch the other. And you have to write 5 questions about the movie for the other team. Okay? So Team A is going to write 5 questions for Team B.
Like guess what the movie is?
No, like something in the movie, like Mr. Bean, what did Mr. Bean shoot? And then the answer would be like a bow and arrow. So what I want you to do on one piece of paper is write 5 questions. Then on another piece of paper, I want you to write 5 answers. And then give me the answers, and then we'll keep the questions for the second team. Okay, so... You have Team A, Team B. Movie 1, 2.
So does the half stay here and the other half like goes to another room?
Yeah, so we've got the room next door as well. So I'm going to give you an iPad, and so that team's going to watch it on an iPad, and the team's going to watch it in here, and you need to think of 5 questions for the other team about the movie. Okay, so don't make it too easy, and not too hard, and also I want you to write the time, so I want you to pause it and have a look at...
Can the other team know what movie you're watching?
Yes.
Oh wait, so do we like all of us like do like 5 questions or each 5?
So each team will do 5 questions.
The whole team.
Yes. So the whole team will create 5 questions for the other team. So let's say 4 and then 4. Then you'll make 5 questions for them. So you'll watch a video and you'll make 5 questions. And I'll watch another video and make 5 questions, and then you'll swap. Then you have to answer their questions, and they have to answer your questions.
And like team of 4?
A team of 4, yeah. And so on one piece, I'm going to give you each team 2 pieces of paper. So one piece of paper, you're going to write 5 questions. And on the next piece of paper, you're going to write the answers to those questions. But also, I want you to write the time. So here, so let's say that this is question 1. I want you to write 13:26. So if the team is struggling to answer it, I want you to write the time on the answer sheet.
The time of the video?
The answer?
The time of the question you're asking. So let's say that you're going to ask, what was Mr. Bean shooting? You pause it at that thing, and that's the time of where the answer is in the video. So each video is like...
Timestamp?
Yeah, timestamp. So each video is about 20 minutes long. So if the other team is struggling to answer your question, I'll give them a hint and say, hey, go to 13:26, and then they can find the answer. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So I've got one here.
Is that your Wi-Fi?
Sorry?
Is that your Wi-Fi?
No, that's the centers. My nephew stole mine. Okay, so we've got one about the kingdom of the little people. So, do we know what a dwarf is?
Yes. The small people that work with mine.
Yeah. So one movie is about that. So Kingdom of the Little People, and the other movie is about tourism in Chernobyl. Do we know what Chernobyl is?
The city?
Yeah, it's like a place of a nuclear accident.
The factory in Ukraine?
In the Ukraine, yeah. That one. So it's now a tourist attraction. So the Kingdom of the Little People, people go and visit that in China. So it's a tourist attraction, and so is this. So I want you each to write 5 questions for the other team about that. So I'll give each team 2 2 piece of paper. Okay, and please remember to write the timestamp on it. So if the other team struggles to answer, I've got the answers, but also I've got the timestamp. So write the timestamp on the answer sheet, not the question sheet. Otherwise, the other team is going to find it too easy. Okay. So how about I get 1, 2, 3, 4 to go in the other room and watch it on the iPad, and let me know when you're finished. But actually, if you're eating, how about okay, let's eat us. Turn off.
Làm cái không ạ, cái nhỏ nhà máy ấy. Xong rồi công ty rồi làm cái đây 5 câu hỏi kia đấy và viết 5 câu trả lời làm cái đẹp.
So 5 questions, and then tell me when you want me to stop, and then we'll look at the timestamp so we can write that on the answer sheet.
Why did you come to Chernobyl? You know it's radioactive, right?
The area is almost unique. Fukushima in time, I suppose, will potentially give the same sort of feel, but there will be nothing like Chernobyl and the exclusion zone here.
We're at the first checkpoint at the entry to the Chernobyl zone, at the 30-kilometer point from the reactor. Once you go through here, the area is contaminated.
April 26th is the 30th anniversary of the worst nuclear accident in history. The disaster at the Soviet Union's Chernobyl nuclear power plant in 1986 contaminated large areas of Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. But 3 decades later, somehow, it's become a tourist attraction. You need permission to get in, but it's actually pretty easy to pay a guide to take you on a tour.
These 3 maps represent the contamination of the exclusion zone area by different isotopes.
This is where we are right now?
Yeah, exactly, Simon. So right now we are at one of the entrances to of the exclusion zone. Altogether, there are 12 checkpoints counted everywhere.
Do you think it's dangerous?
So, do you want to have that as a question? How many checkpoints are there? So they said that there were 12 checkpoints.
I cannot hear that very clearly. Where's the movie?
Do you want to move up? Move your chair closer.
The Russian English.
What's that?
Is hard to hear.
Yeah, it is.
Where's the movie?
Say that again.
Maybe. Where's the movie?
Where is it? Chernobyl in the Ukraine.
I mean, this movie.
Yeah.
When my question is, where's the movie happens? When? When?
When was it created? When they made the movie?
Yeah.
2016. Well, that was the day. I wouldn't put that as a question because that's the day it was uploaded. It might have been made 2 years earlier, and then Vice just put it online.
It's still a question, right?
Yeah.
It's still.
But don't do that one. Listen to this bit.
Chernobyl nuclear power plant in 1986 contaminated large areas of Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. But 3 decades later, somehow, it's become a tourist attraction. You need permission to get in, but it's actually pretty easy to pay a guide to take you on a tour.
These three maps represent the contamination of the exclusion zone area by different isotopes.
This is where we are right now.
Yeah, exactly, Simon. So right now we are at one of the entrances to the exclusion zone. Altogether, there are 12 checkpoints counted everywhere.
Do you think it's...
For their accents. Actually, I can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah. So they're Ukrainian, so they got that Russian accent. So it is difficult to understand.
Can we have a subtitle?
Yeah. Do you want English or Vietnamese?
Please, yeah, English.
Okay. So, do you want to write as question number 1, how many checkpoints are there? And then on the answer sheet, just write 12. 1, 12. And then timestamp it at say 1.15. 1.15, please. So just right here, like next to it, like 1.15. So if they say, I don't know where it is, I can tell them, go back to 1.15. So 1 minute and 15 seconds. Okay, cool.
First to go upstairs?
It depends. Is it dangerous to smoke? Is it dangerous to, I don't know, drive the car?
Yes.
It's a very relative question, I can't really answer it.
Got it, okay. Well, I guess we'll have to take a chance.
Taking a chance with me were Wilson, a traveler from Hong Kong, and Andrew, a tourist from the UK. They both paid a few $100 to get a dose of Chernobyl. $100.
Người ta câu hỏi là cái gì? Không, cái này thế chứ phải cái không ăn.
Không, cái này là còn chung của phiên trước bác.
Cứ play thì nữa, bọn nó sẽ nói là
cứ viết.
A dose of Chernobyl.
Cái giá phải trả cái này.
Nhưng mà nó không có cụ thể.
Cứ viết nhiều câu hỏi xung quanh.
20 minutes later, we were already at the epicenter of the exclusion zone.
How long that they took from the bus? Bao lâu thì nó đến cái exclusion zone ấy? How long did they take? Went to the exclusion zone. Okay,
Where we were already
Hari năm.
the epicenter,
Hari năm.
exclusion zone.
Increasing. So as soon as we came up to the reactor, everybody's Geiger counter started going crazy. So that's reactor number 4, the one that was destroyed in the accident, and it's covered with something.
This
That's reactor number 4. One
the one
was destroyed.
number of the reactor that was destroyed
In the accident.
Còn có and something.
You know that the number of the reactor that were destroyed in the accident and yeah.
And it's covered with something called the sarcophagus.
Thì câu hỏi tiếp theo là cái reactor đấy được cover bởi chất gì? What is the reactor covered by?
What is the previous reactor covered by?
Cái câu hỏi của số của mình vừa nãy em thì là số 2 phút 25 giây, câu hỏi bây giờ là 2 phút 28.
Tí kia sẽ là câu hỏi mà. Đúng không? Thì mình xem thì mình thấy câu hỏi gì. Mình xem hỏi cái kia đi trả lời. Mình theo đuổi trả lời câu hỏi cái kia. 28.
I guess that was put there in the 80s to keep all of the radioactive material inside. But it started falling apart, so they built an even bigger cover called the Arch at great cost with the help of the European Union. That's going to be rolled over to cover the entire sarcophagus. It's going to be rolled over on rails when it's completed in 2017.
What is the code for this?
Why did you come to Chernobyl? We're right next to the reactor, which is the most radioactive.
Ghi cái 2017 không? Cái quan trọng này.
Wait, one row over on row.
When it complete, the real complete. Where's the mouse? Where's the mouse? The mouse on the microphone. The touchpad here. Oh. I know where's the mouse?
What's that in there?
The mouse on the microphone. Mouse.
I don't have a mouse.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just this.
When it was completed, right? You know,
Yeah.
when was the wells completed? When was it? When was it complete? Cái bỏ này không.
Why did you come to Chernobyl? We're right next to the reactor, which is the most radioactive area in the zone. Aren't you a little bit afraid of the radiation?
Not that much, but the meter is now still safe, showing the meter. Yeah. And according to the tour guide, she told me it's okay. Well, you can see all those people working inside without the protective coat frame or mask, so I think it's safe.
And why did you decide to come to Chernobyl?
I think it's
Why did you
okay.
Cứ hay là tiền nữa.
Well, you can see all those people working inside without the protective.
Chỗ này có phụ đề nên dễ hơn.
Or mask, so I think it's safe.
Why did you decide to come to Chernobyl?
Hai phút là 3 phút 16.
Giờ bây giờ 13 phút rồi.
Bao rồi sao? Vẫn còn
I think it's a.
Lấy cái điện thoại chụp chụp ảnh cho chị.
It's a quite special experience for me. It's not. Outputting by just like shopping or see the nice spot. But here I can really see something common for me. I didn't tell my parents, but my friends say that I'm mad, I'm crazy. Why you go there?
Our next stop was the town of Pripyat, the closest city to the reactor, which had to be totally evacuated and has stood empty for 30 years. Parts of it were relatively clean, but you never know when you hit a bad patch.
So catch per minute, so that's...
Yeah, that's how many beta particles basically we're having.
So is that a lot?
Yeah,
That's
like
really a lot.
normal up to 50.
Yeah.
And how many is that?
That's 1600.
Đây phải không phải.
1600. How many?
How many barrels?
Tua lại để chưa có cái vector particle rồi.
Yeah.
Count per minute. How many better particle count per minute?
Cứ tua lại đi. Mấy người nói nghe.
When you hit a bad patch.
So catch per minute, so that's...
Yeah, that's how many beta particles
How
basically
many better particle count per minute? Basically.
we're having.
So is that a lot?
Yeah,
That's
like
really a lot.
normal up to 50.
Yeah.
And how many is that?
That's 1600.
16.
Câu này khó, câu này khó.
4 phút thôi không sao.
How many stars? 16. 16. 4 câu 6.
Yeah.
Sau đây thì đã có gì?
So about
Yeah.
1700.
So do you think if
1600 over.
1600 là 16.
116.
1600. 116.
Is it just 1600 is
116.
how can we write 1600 like 116?
Can you go back a little bit so I could listen to it?
1600.
That's 1600 so far.
Yeah.
1700.
1600. So 1600 is 1600.
Oh, 100.
So do you think it's dangerous for tourists to be coming here?
I think it's not dangerous for ordinary people to come here on one or short day trips because the radiation levels are not as high as people would presume before coming here. According to statistics, last year 17 of the people visited as travelers.
71.
Năm trước có 17,000.
Can you play it again? I think that the titles might be bad. Can you go back a bit so I can listen to it?
Presumed before coming here. According to statistics, last year 17,000 people
17,000.
visited the excursion.
17,700. Đưa ra ta tra cái search it in Google.
So they're saying 17,000, 17.
7,170,000.
She's Ukrainian, so she struggles with English herself. But she's saying 17.
Nhưng mà có chọn là video này nó quay năm nào bây giờ nó sẽ được.
Khi đó nhìn 2018 thì là bữa đã không qua 2017.
Nhưng mà đây
As travelers. This room is the props for the concert halls. You see, back in the Soviet Union, people when they worked at a plant or if they were teaching staff or maybe doctors or nurses or hospital, in the free time they were kept busy. They had to participate in some plays, maybe if they could sing well, they would sing. Yeah, and this way everyone had fun, people didn't take drugs, didn't drink a lot.
Chernobyl was the site of the world's worst nuclear accident, and people come here for a lot of different reasons. I think one of the main ones, though, is that it's a time capsule for the Soviet Union of 1986, a country that doesn't exist anymore. Apart from that,
When did the Union disappear?
No, not a time. What time of the Soviet Union did the Chernobyl represent? What period of what time of the Soviet Union did the Chernobyl represent?
What year did the Chernobyl disaster happen? Yeah. That might be a better question. So what was the country called back then? It wasn't the Ukraine.
Soviet Union, part of the Soviet Union, and then like Lenin discovered the Ukraine, right?
Sorry.
Lenin.
What do you mean?
Mark Lenin discovered Ukraine, right? Or
Là sao?
Mark Lenin không phải từ Lenin.
Leningrad.
Ukraine nó có từ lâu rồi mà sau này discover là khám phá ra.
Đúng là Lenin khám phá ra Ukraine là tách ra từ tư bản chủ nghĩa. Xong rồi bây giờ chiến tranh này do Ukraine nó lật đổ tự vào Lenin chứ.
So great for Instagram.
Soviet sụp đổ vì khó khăn mà.
Nhưng mà vẫn giữ được Lenin, còn Ukraine nó càng năm nó lật đổ tự vào Lenin.
why'd you come to Chernobyl? You know it's radioactive.
The area is almost unique. From your own time, I suppose, will potentially give the same sort of feel, but there will be nothing like Chernobyl and the exclusion zone here.
Wow, this is actually very interesting.
After coming back from Chernobyl, I wanted to double check just how dumb a decision it had been to go there. So I visited Ukraine's main radiation research hospital.
Скажите, пожалуйста, как вы считаете, туристам безопасно ездить в зону отчуждения Чернобыля?
Я считаю, что туристам организованным, которые по утверждению
Đó là câu hỏi. Ông được ra hay lớn con có sẵn nào?
How many questions do you have?
So 1, 2, 3.
Okay, you only need 5.
Everybody will need like a hard question instead of they are easy to answer.
You should choose 5 hardest questions to answer.
Okay. Try and speed it up a bit, they're nearly finished.
туристам, которые пытаются обойти правила и придумывать какие-то свои маршруты, нарушать общие, скажем так, утвержденные маршруты, опасно. Не разрешается ни дома посещать, ни вот сходить вот там, где вот эти всякие заросли. Существует вопрос не только получить признание одежды, рук, но есть возможность все-таки и вдохнуть эту пыль радиоактивную.
Ну, я должен признаться, что я заходил в здание.
При непосредственном случае. Доказано, что может вызывать, скажем так,
Ta sắp đầy đủ tạm thời đi.
Sắp đi mà cái kia không dùng.
Khi nào cần lại
Vẫn chỉ là bệnh viện.
реализацию тех болезней, к которым вы предрасположены. Ну, то есть своего рода как бы вот, ускоренное старение.
Вот это опыт
premature
которой я
aging.
ходил
Это
по
premature aging.
Это,
Premature là trưởng thành,
Вот это
nghĩa
вот
là
как бы, вот, ну, ускоренное
già
старение.
yếu của trưởng thành là sao?
Nhưng mà cái này là nó nói từ trước rồi, bây giờ nó đang tiếp tục cái sông đông nghĩa là phải tới trước rồi. Skip này.
Happened 30 years ago, and none of them were even born. Actually,
Mà lên chơi kìa.
Moment of truth.
Можно было видеть, что область Цезия абсолютно благополучная, чистая.
Значит, моя поездка в Чернобыль была безопасной.
Да, она была безопасной, это можно сказать.
Có phải không? Không hiểu nên là mình có một cái kia đó cái cái. Người ta đang nói tiếng địa phương thì mình
Пожалуйста, будьте здоровы.
Tens of thousands of people are believed to have died prematurely because of Chernobyl. And even though my short trip there probably won't, people are believed to have died prematurely because of Chernobyl. And even though my short trip there probably won't have any effects on my health, the consequences for the people of Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia are still playing out a generation later.
It's surprising that there are so many kids here because the accident happened 30 years ago and none of them were even born. But it turns out that it's not just the people who were directly affected by the radiation who are suffering. Their kids have been affected too.
Вот это политика какие-то аутоиммунного тиреидита, который
Which cause nodular coi từ đấy. One cause đấy xong rồi đi là trời ơi, cái phương khó quá.
Mấy câu này nhìn phụ đề là biết cho nên đánh dấu là nó hơi dễ quá.
nó đu là coi còn
Cái này là Apple từ ngữ Latin ở đây rồi.
cái này là coi người không bây giờ bắt ba chín đi. Ok. 9.39. Rồi.
весь результат приводит к узлообразованию.
Вы удивились, когда вы увидели, что дети людей, которые облучились, тоже страдают похожими болезнями, как и их родители?
Понимаете, пострадавшие от радиации, они приобрели проблему. А если они ее приобрели, то это же наполовину, но уходится где-то на генетическом уровне. И она уже может на этом уровне молекулярно передаваться и детям.
What level từ câu hỏi là what level hỏi ra
Hỏi câu khác đi, cái này nó
molecular level.
molecular level.
Cái này hỏi cái là level nào mà bọn trẻ con nó bị cái di truyền này.
Mức độ
What level that it could pass on to children đấy. Sẽ hỏi cho molecular.
What levels can problem be passed
Through children, through children đấy.
from parents to children?
Đúng rồi.
Corporation. What level can the problem
They'll probably be finished now, the other group.
Hỏi đôi nhắc hỏi đúng không? Hỏi đúng không? Rồi biết.
Может на этом уровне.
Happened 30 years ago, and
Це був 1986 рік. Я навчалася в 6 класі, коли це все трапилося. І проживала в зоні аварію, але торкнув
Để sao
чи то батько, чи батько від
Cái
онкології.
này chỉ là học bệnh nhân thôi, nó không có cái đâu.
căng thẳng gì sao?
30 years after the Chernobyl disaster emptied this town and made large 30 years after the Chernobyl disaster emptied this town and made large chunks of Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia uninhabitable, nuclear energy is actually getting a new lease on life from people who think it might be the answer to climate change because it doesn't produce the greenhouse gases that are warming the earth. But with everything that's happened here, and more recently the Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan, it seems like people just haven't learned how to use nuclear energy safely yet.
Mấy câu hỏi 8 câu rồi. 9 câu rồi.
Sao được anh?
Tiếp đến phía sau.
go with it. They kicked the computer and the computer turned off, so they're going to take a while. You've got 5 questions?
Yeah.
And where are the answers?
Wait. They're right in here in our answer. I'll answer in the time.
Okay. So here, you're asking different rates. So what's the number of the reactor that was destroyed? So what's the number of the reactor that was destroyed? In the accident? What covered that reactor good? Which caused the deviant? Is that what it is? Which caused the modular?
Actually, I think it's the.
Well, what was the cause?
I could estimate causes.
Yeah. Okay. When did this Chernobyl exclusion happen? Not ED, right? It's meant to have ED.
Yeah, this is in 1986.
Okay. But you just say when did the Chernobyl exclusion happen? Not ED, right?
Yeah.
What level can the problems? So here you'd start like at. So at what level can the problems be passed on to children? Yeah, problem like the S is plural to the children. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Let's see how the other one's going. And can you leave your book for me with the answers?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you could leave that here for me, and I'll get you to swap rooms in a sec. Okay, can you guys go in the room next door, please? Can you have a question? Yeah, thank you. And so I want you all to read the questions before you watch the movie. So you all listening out for what you've got to try and remember. Okay, so go next door and then make sure you all understand the questions. Go.
We start. This one is so much shorter. Turn off the light, turn off the light.
Okay, wait, first, do you want to read them out loud? Read the questions first.
Why'd you come to Chernobyl? You know it's
Wait.
radioactive, right?
Turn off.
Okay, read the questions out loud first, and then...
Okay.
Was destroyed in the accident. Reactor. That number of the reactor was covered. That reactor. Which was going cause the lower.
Năm không phải là tiếng Việt của mình đúng không?
Gì đây này?
Em
dịch cho. Ồ, xin chào.
Xin bạn lóc nha, hello mọi người. Hôm nay sẽ quay thẳng.
Thôi nhìn lên.
Chọc cái cơ cử. Rồi đọc không có hỏi chưa? Cái này, tôi đang chọc cái. Cái này là nhiều đấy. Để dịch ra khi tôi này gửi cho bố mẹ là em sẽ chết đấy. The number of the reactor. Số lượng.
Này.
Đây cái reactor nhìn này. Thứ nhất chị cũng thích, chị cũng có. Chị cũng là bé. Reactor thì sang cái tiếng Việt là kiểu
Không thấy được.
người phản ứng hỏi chấm. Reactor. Người phản ứng. Ủa, reaction là phản ứng. Em thấy cái sự phản ứng. Kiểu reaction của virus các thứ với enemy ấy thì reactor đây là virus ấy. Yeah, the cause and comment. When did the destroy? Did it actually so mấy mình không theo mùa không? Thôi, bắt đầu rồi nha. Không, đừng cái này nó khó chịu á.
Why'd you come to Chernobyl? You know it's radioactive, right?
The area is almost unique. Provision around, I suppose, will potentially give the same sort of feel, but there will be nothing like Chernobyl, at least with
Chernobyl. That's the number.
The number of the reactor vẫn chưa đến 10 triệu rồi.
Từ gạch chân keyword đã. Gạch chân keyword đi. Thế nào?
Gạch rơi chuyển chủ đề là sao?
Gạch chân keyword. Chị gạch chân chưa? Đấy, chị sẽ dùng highlight đủ màu sắc của chị. Ôi. Các bạn highlight màu gì? Màu hồng có. Em muốn hồng neon hay là hồng neon? Hồng neon lên. Một cái thì chảnh nữa. Em sẽ try to destroy in the accident. Em không nhìn thấy gì. Over. That means English course. Nó đu lớn có từ gì đấy. When did the explosion happen? Explosion levels can this the problem jump onto ceiling. Okay. Ôi.
Okay, how are you going with it?
I did a lot of keywords.
Okay.